Hello and welcome to another video. In this one I am making a waffle shaped noughts and crosses board or tic-tac-toe board out of clay. There was a trend on TikTok a while back and me and my friend absolutely fell in love with them, so I am making her one for her birthday. I made the board out of Das air dry clay and later on made the counters out of polymer clay. Once I started rolling the clay out, I realised that it wasn't nearly enough, so I added more and ended up using almost the whole packet. The first method I tried was hand building, and I thought this would be easiest to make the shape, but it turned out I was wrong. So I rolled out a slab of clay, I cut out the template, I smoothed the corners, and then I cut out strips of clay to use for the borders of the grid sections. And I smoothed and smoothed and smoothed, and it just did not work. So let's start over. And here we are again. So this time I decided to roll out a thick block of clay and then carve out the sections instead of trying to build them up. I scored out a template and I used a clay tool to scoop out each section. I'm going for a handmade look on this because I know I can't get it absolutely perfect with the tools and the skills that I have at the moment, and I've never worked with this much clay before without being in a class. So trying to get things perfect usually saps all the enjoyment out of things for me, so I'm trying to unlearn my perfectionism and just have fun being creative. And food is never perfectly uniform anyway, right? So while we wait for the board to dry for a few days, let's move on to the counters. I used polymer clay for these because it holds detail a lot better than air dry clay, and I can cure it quickly in the oven, so I could finish off these pieces while waiting for the board to dry. I do have a collection of coloured polymer clay, but there wasn't enough of each colour for me to use those, so I used Hobbycraft's own polymer clay instead. I toyed with a few ideas of what to make for the counters. I was originally deciding between making a toast board and avocado counters, but it just didn't give the cuteness I wanted. So I went for the waffle base and I made blueberries, banana slices and strawberry slices for the counters. I wanted to make 3 different types of counter instead of 2 like there normally are, because the person I'm gifting it to is in a family of 3 and I want them all to be able to choose their own counters so that they can have their own little set when they're playing noughts and crosses together. slices instead of half strawberries, and I think they turned out way cuter. With the counters was to make them realistic enough that you knew what they were while still looking really cute. After I'd baked the counters according to the instructions, they were ready to Once I was happy with the paint job, I sprayed them all with a clear matte varnish. In the end, the waffle took almost an entire week to dry. In its defence, it was very rainy in England at that time, but it was still quite a long time to wait, so I was very excited to get sanding. After hoovering everything in sight, I was ready to start painting the base. And now it's time to see everything come together.